Lego Batman was a good game.
Yeah. He carried the Lego movie.
What's the one where the is it Avengers? The floating ship above the city, New York City, and you jump out of it. Which one was that?
Like the Marvel Avengers.
Is that Marvel Avengers? Oh, that was the best one.
Lego Marvel superheroes.
Superheroes, that's the best one. Best one.
I am the Lego game connoisseur.
I've played them all.
So have I.
And in fact, I'm in not denial. I'm in withdrawal because I haven't made one in like a year. It feels like they're coming out with that. That's the next one coming out. Star Wars.
I think what they're doing is that they're remastering the old Lego Star Wars.
Oh my god, they better not screw it up.
Oh my god, wait, what are they doing?
They're remastering.
Nobody.
Like it should be the same.
I mean, I don't know, like the Modern Warfare stuff that they remastered, like the first one and the second one, doesn't make that.
They need to do Indiana Jones because those are like the first ones that came out.
I had the Indiana Jones Lego game on my DS.
That was good. That was good stuff. All right, here we go.
What they do with those?
Find your seats.
Force Awakens,
Hey,
they were like six
if you didn't realize it or do the math, half of the people in here got academic awards.
Yeah.
I'm not special. I didn't get it. I don't understand how.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy good. It's 4 out of 10. I mean, it's not perfectly half, but it's
Close.
close.
That's another great guy.
The paradox there being that's the math teacher saying half when it really isn't half.
Wait a minute.
But congratulations to those who got the academic awards. Good job.
Wait, what were those for?
Good grade.
So in high school, it's one of those things they do it in college as well too. So you get awards. You know, some schools do it for middle school. Ours we decide just for high school. So you get. There's this thing that's been out, I mean, forever for athletics. Mike, you can find a seat. Yeah. Well, then sit there. Come on, Mike. There's always been awards for athletics, and so most schools, rightfully so, decide and they can wear these Leatherman jackets, Letterman jackets, not Leatherman. Letterman jackets, and we said, well, we got to do the same thing for academics because academics counts just as much as athletics. So we're doing this. So you get it's a high school thing. You get an actual physical letter, and usually it's the letters, the abbreviation of your school. So LTA. I think they're doing LTA. I'm not 100%. Did they tell you?
No, they just said they were.
I think it's LTA what's going to be. So you get to wear something that other people don't get to wear in school. So if you are a varsity athlete, then you get a letter and you get a jacket that comes along with. Usually you have to buy the jacket, but then we give you the letter. Danny, the part where you listen? Okay. And then you get to put on there. And then for academics, we're doing the same thing. I thought it was a sweater. I didn't think it was a vest, but she said, or he said vest. So I thought it was a sweater.
I thought academics always did kind of vests.
And so the really awesome students, the ones that have both letters, right? They'll have an academic letter and they'll have a athletic letter as well too.
They're gonna be stacked.
You get double letters. And then what happens is if you get additional letters, you guys are like the test case since you guys are sophomores. So we missed out freshman year. But as you get more letters, then you get usually it's like bars or something like that you like gold bars that they put on the letter itself as you get more awards. Yeah.
So,
So far, right.
So that means 9th grade.
Yeah. Sucks to suck, I guess.
Wow.
I do not know why they didn't have. I didn't. Mr. Brubaker was running the whole thing, and I literally thought there would be some 9th grade, but maybe it is just. I don't know. I'll talk to him. I'll get an answer to that one. But
It's just the high.
there's some smart 9th grade. I find that strange. Yeah.
It's the group with like 4 people, and then some of them.
But we wanted to make sure that you guys, since you've been here, and you are literally like the 6-year seniors, no, 5-year seniors. No,
Huh?
I think you're 5. Yeah.
you're the 5-year seniors. Like you're the highest grade throughout your entire career here, right? So we wanted to make sure something special happened for you guys. Plus the fact that you are the first ones through. So, I mean, we are literally, it sounds weird to say we're making it up as we go along. It's not as bad as that sounds, but that's literally it is. It's like we are creating, you guys are part of the process too. We are creating the things that will be long-standing at our school. You go to some schools and they do this type thing. So as we figure out, what kind of school we want to be and, what kind of things we want to have, seniors always do this, juniors always, that sort of thing. That all gets started somehow. So we're starting those things. So you guys get to be a huge part of that process of starting things.
We get to be guinea pigs.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it like that. I wanted to say it the way I choose. All right. All right, we're going to do this real quick. It is Friday, so it's a shortened day. The test is on Monday. No joke. What's in front of you is the test. The only difference is that I just made the test literally in first period because they had a test. I simply took this, what's in front of your face, and instead of there being 4 questions for each category, there's either 1 or 2.
It's easy.
Danny.
On a scale from 1 to 10, which 10 being the hardest, how hard is this?
It's in front of your face right now. As you look at it, you get to make that determination. This is of everything we do in geometry. This is the algebra stuff right here. So I would say that this is
The worst out of it all.
this is the easiest one because it's just nothing but algebra. Yes, it's coordinate geometry, but it's algebra 1. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do as much or as little as we need, but I am going to go over every single section. Section number 1, which is questions 1 through 4, finding the distance between 2 points, distance formula. If you need to write it down, write it down. D is equal to big long square root symbol, x2 minus x1, close parentheses squared, plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. We did it yesterday. We actually did it. I'm just talking about it today. Ethan, right? Do something. Okay. I just made the test, so I remember how many I put on there. I put 2 of these on the test. Do you want to see an example, or you understand the concept and what you need to do? Danny? Cool. All right. I think I only put 1 on the next type because it's the same question, except it's a picture of it rather than the points. And as Danny said yesterday, so all we have to do is find the 2 endpoints, and then it looks like questions 1 through 4. So for instance, on question number 5, the left endpoint there is -5 is at -3. And the right endpoint is at -1, -2. Now it looks like questions 1 through 4 find the distance. I've made sure, bless you, I made sure that if it is a square root answer, like it's, you do all the math and you wind up with the square root of, I don't know, 26, it's not going to be the square root of 496 or something like that. It's going to be something that you can do and that you can simplify the square root. No calculators necessary. Listen to me carefully. If you grab your calculator and you type it into your calculator on the test, you're going to get it wrong. Not because the number is wrong. I don't want, 3.6. I want the square root simplified. So for instance, if it was the square root of 20, 4 times 5 is 20, we would want 2√5 as the answer. Okay? I will remind you on Monday when you take the test that even though you can use your calculator to do some of the work, you can't just say the square root of plug the numbers in. Okay. Questions on that? Yes.
For number 6 on the top right left.
Yep.
Would that be the negative?
It would be. That would be -4, 2 is the left end point, and -2, -1 for the right end point. If there is an issue on distance form, it's because you drop a negative or something like that. All right. Slope of the line. I will give you a graph. You need to do the slope. The formula for slope, M for slope, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Once again, you got to pick 2 points. Now, I was nice to you and I gave you 2 points. Cadence is like, I'm not doing it that way. I'm just going to use my finger and count squares. Yes, absolutely. Or You can write the coordinates of the 2 points. I'm not erasing anything. Or you can write the coordinates of the 2 points and plug those values into the slope formula. Either one's fine. Obviously, the monkey method, although it's not called the monkey method, the method of counting squares when it's already graphed is the easiest method. You must reduce the fraction if it can be reduced. Questions? Connor, you writing any of this down? You can pass this test. If you study this weekend, you can pass this test. Yes, no, maybe? All right. The only difference between 9 and 10 is now you don't have the option of counting squares. You have to use the formula. So it is that formula I just wrote down. I give you the 2 points, you plug the numbers in, and away you go. Same formula. It says calculate the slope given those 2 points. That is 9 and 10. The easiest question on the test, and no, I will not give you 8 of these. I will give you 1 of those, is to find the slope. If the equation is in the form of y equals mx plus b. So if it's in the form of y equals mx plus b, whatever number is attached to x is the m value, which is the slope. So you just see what's attached to x, 5/3, and you're done. There's nothing to do here other than understand the slope-intercept formula. Where is the slope?
So the answer is 12.
For number 12, Danny, what's the answer to number 11? Not a 1. What number is attached to x? When there's not a number attached to a variable, that number is always. When there's not a number attached to a variable, the number in front is always. If it's 0, then it's 0. 0 times x is 0. There's nothing there. But there is a number that I can put in front of x that doesn't change anything. It's not 0. 1. 1 times x is x. Now be careful. This one's slightly tricky because the answer is not actually 1, Danny. It's. We put a little 1 in front of that. It doesn't actually say 1. What does it say? It says -1. So the answer is -1. All right. Moving on. All right, now we get to this parallel perpendicular. You just have to remember the relationship between parallel and perpendicular lines and slope. The relationship, if 2 lines are parallel, they have equal slopes. So technically, I am giving you another question just like the previous one. You just find the slope. Both of the, one of them is in the form of y equals mx plus b. Now this one is tricky. X equals k is what? Vertical or horizontal? X equals -2. Is that vertical or horizontal?
Vertical.
That is a vertical line. What is the slope of any vertical line? Not 0. It is undefined. Horizontal lines have slopes of 0. So it says find the slope of the line parallel to this one. If I give you a vertical line, then a line that's parallel to it would be also vertical. And what do we know about all slopes that are vertical? Undefined. So number 14, I don't know what the answers are in the back. Does it say no slope or does it say undefined? It says undefined. Okay. I'll take no slope or undefined.
Wait, why is it undefined?
Because it's vertical. Horizontal slopes are 0. Vertical, it's undefined. Why is it undefined? Remember, slope is defined as rise over run. Well, vertical lines have plenty of rise, so there's a number on the top, but there's 0 on the bottom because it doesn't have any run. It's vertical. It doesn't go left or right at all. And you can't have a fraction with 0 on the bottom. That's why it's undefined. Okay? Perpendicular. The relationship between 2 perpendicular lines and their slopes is that they are opposite reciprocals of one another. If you have 2 lines that are perpendicular to each other, their slopes are opposite reciprocals. So you take whatever the given slope is, -1 on 15, -4/3 on number 16, and you simply write the opposite reciprocal. Opposite means you change the sign. If it's negative, it's positive. It's positive, it's negative. Reciprocal means you take the fraction and you flip it. You're like, well, number 15 doesn't have a fraction. Well, remember, you can always put it over 1.
So instead of being negative x,
There's no x. X is the x value. M is the slope.
so you just turn negative into a positive.
And you turn a positive. Yes, that's what the word opposite means. Reciprocal means, well, you take, well, technically, mathematically, it means two fractions. When you multiply them together, you get 1. Which is why we had that one theorem that said if you take two slopes and you multiply them together and they are perpendicular, we get the value -1. Okay. Is that it for that sheet?
Wait, why is the answer 15?
Opposite reciprocals. What does opposite mean?
Different?
What does it mean specifically?
I don't know how to describe it without saying the word opposite.
If it's negative, now it's positive. If it's positive, now it's negative. The slope of my given line right here is -1. That's my given slope. That's the number attached to x. You're like, no, it's not. There's no number. Yeah, that's why there's a 1 there. But it's -1. The opposite, Danny, of -1 is +1. But we need opposite reciprocal. So you take this fraction, you flip it. You literally just take the fraction and flip it and take the opposite. The opposite of negative is positive. And 1/1 flipped is still 1/1. Well, that's the number 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Opposite reciprocals. Yes, no, maybe? Okay. Last two things. Midpoints. Formula for midpoints is, let's see, it's a point, so it's got two parentheses. So it's x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. 17 and 18, I give you the 2 points. 19, 20, I don't give you the 2 points. I give you the picture. Write down the 2 endpoints and plug the numbers in, away you go. Expect 1 to be a fraction. Why? Because, well, you're dividing by 2. Questions on midpoint?
Okay, I'm through.
Nothing? I'm going to point out also, this is what we did yesterday as well. You should have 2 of these now. It's practice test 1 and practice test 2. All right. And the reason why the answers appear right there, I told you yesterday, is because it's 2 different programs. All right, enough of that one. Let's look at the last one. Oops, there's the answers. There's not the answers. Okay. I will put one of these on the test. Just one. I will give you an equation that's in standard form. Remember, standard form is AX for linear equations plus BY equals C, standard form. When it's in standard form, the easiest way is to graph the intercepts. Let's do number 2 here. When you graph your intercepts, you let X be 0 and you let Y be 0, and you see what you get. If I let X be 0, it's going to say -2Y equals -4. Divide both sides by -2, we get 2. So when X is 0, we get a Y value of +2. Plug in 0 for Y. When Y is 0, we get X equals -4. That's the one you got to be careful on. It's not 0, -4, because it's the Y value that's 0. There's my 2 points. Graph those 2 points, play connect the dots, and you are done. So there is, intercepts are really easy. They're really easy because I'm giving you numbers. If I make the C value not divisible by 2 and 1,
Isn't
then
it negative?
say again?
Isn't it negative? Not positive. It's going up.
Well, so here's the deal. when you look at it right here, you kind of get that impression, right? If we were to actually put in the slope-intercept form, I would subtract x from both sides. So I'd get negative 2y is equal to negative x minus 4. When I divide by negative 2, I'm turning everything positive. So I would get y is equal to, for the slope divided by negative 2, I would get x over 2, or 1/2, plus 4. I'm sorry, plus 2, because I'm dividing by 2, negative 2. So notice the y-intercept is positive 2. The slope is positive up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So yeah, it kind of looks like it would have been negative, but you got to actually do the math.
So, how did you put 2?
I put 0 in for x, solve. I put 0 in for y, solve. His question was, from the original equation, it looked like the slope would be negative, not positive. I was showing him why that was not the case. But the process when you graph the intercepts, by the way, you need to graph the intercepts.
Can we just graph 2 points, or do you have to write?
No, got to graph the intercepts. Graph the intercepts. That's what this is. Purpose of this is to. I would say algebra 2 pre-calculus. You graph intercepts all the time. Right? And the reason why is because next year we don't get just lines. We don't get parabolas. We get way different shapes next year. We get V's, literally V's instead of U's. And we're gonna get a lot of different shapes next year when we graph. You guys probably seen some on your graphing calculator. Right? You get lots of different shapes. Those are just some of them. All right, but not this year. All right, next concept after graphing the intercepts is to solve systems of equations. Solving system of equations, I gave you lots of examples here. I want to say I have you do 3 of them, right, on the test. All right, you're going to have ones where something already matches on 3 and 4. Look, I got the 5s match and I got the 2s match. When the signs are opposite, then you add. When the signs are the same, then you subtract. So in the first one, when we add, hey, look, I got a 5 and a 5, but one's positive, one's negative. When we add, we get negative 12x is equal to, don't panic, it says 0. 0 is a perfectly fine number. A lot of kids, when they get that, they're like, what? I didn't know what to do now. You just leave it as 0.
Does that mean mine's 0 too?
What did
Yes.
you say about the addition thing?
So you're going to look at it. You're going to see if the x's and the y's match from the very start. Hey, look, they do. I got a 5 and a 5, except one's positive and one's negative. When one is positive and one is negative, you add. When the signs are the same, you got to subtract. So on the number, and by the way, then you solve for y and then plug that number in. Yeah.
If you have the same number, but one's negative.
Just add. And that's what eliminates one of them. So we get y is equal to 0, plug that in to either equation for y, solve for x. On the second one, when the signs are the same, you need to subtract the bottom one. The impact of that is subtraction the same as adding the opposite, so we need to write the opposite of everything. I don't like, I mean, the 2 examples that I picked for test 1 and test 2 gives you the impression like turns everything negative. No, it doesn't turn everything negative. You write the opposite of those things. We add this one now, we get what? Negative 10y is equal to, is that negative 40? Yeah, negative 40. So therefore y is equal to 4. Take that number, plug it into either one of the equations, solve for x. Yeah. I know, because you're like, you're bouncing off the walls. I have no idea why.
He's bones off the wall. She's been crazy.
And it's like you.
Go bonkers. God's literally mentioned.
All right, the more challenging one, and it's not that much more challenging, is the one that you have to do the multiplication with. So questions 5 and 6. Questions 5 and 6, there's going to be some multiplication. Notice nothing matches. Your choice is you either match the x's or you match the y's. Match the x and y. Number 5, I think you can probably see you probably want to match the x's. In the perfect world, we want one to be positive and one to be negative. So if you can see, for number 5, we probably multiply the top by 2. Then it would match the x's. You could match the y's, it would still work. On number 6, there's no easy match. So you got to pick one. Let's see. 8 and 3, I'd have to match with 24. That's going to be a pretty big number. 4 and 5 is 12. It's just big numbers. Both of them are big numbers. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. Is one easier than that? No, they're about the same. Pick one, Seth. So number 6. 4 and 5. So we're going to multiply the top one by a positive 5 and the bottom one by a positive 4. That's going to give you a negative 20 on the top and a positive 20 on the bottom. But you got to multiply everything by 5. Right? If you forget, and usually what happens is you forget to multiply one of them. And on the bottom, we're multiplying everything by 4 plus 20. Look, I got one's negative, one's positive, equals 48. Then when we add 18x is equal to 28. Whoa, this one, did I make a mistake? Because I thought I gave you ones where the numbers work out nice. Did I make a mistake? That's a 40, that's a negative 20, that's a negative 20. That's a negative 12, that's a positive 20, that's a 48.
Wait. This is. No, it's
28. I was going to say, I did not give you one where you get some weird decimal answer. It can happen, by the way, and it happens a lot, but I didn't choose ones like that. Okay, so therefore we get x equals 1. That's better. Okay, and throw 1 in for x. You got to solve for y. Remember, 2 lines, you're finding where they intersect. No, I didn't put any of those special ones where the 2 lines are parallel and you get no solution. That can always happen. Or they're literally exactly the same line, infinite solutions. It is your choice of what you match. I showed you one of many different possibilities of solving that one. Okay. Danny, just remember this is recorded as well too. So, all right. The last part of the test deals with all those point slope formulas. Remember, point slope formula is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Point slope formula. No, I'm not going to give you 12 of these. This one's just a plug and chug. I'm going to give you a point. I'm going to give you a slope. You just plug the numbers in. That's it. The only one that will ever give you any problem is when one of the points has some negatives. When you throw a negative in, remember x's and y's are both being subtracted. That'll turn it positive. So for instance, this would be x plus 4 on number 8. Number 7 is really easy. It would be y minus what? 2 is equal to 7/5 times x minus 5. Very easy. Second thing you can mess up is, remember, the point goes xy. The formula goes yx. It's almost like math teachers wrote this to screw kids up. If I were writing it, I would say the formula is m times x minus x1 is equal to y minus y1, and then nobody would make a mistake. But I didn't get to write the formula. By the way, you can do it that way. Mathematically, it's the same thing. I just see too many kids. It's literally one of these when you just plug numbers in, and they forget it goes xy instead of yx. And on the formula it goes yx. Anybody lose anybody on that? Okay.
So you just do that.
All I'm doing is plugging those numbers in. There's no math here other than, well, that one right there with the negative 4. Okay. 9 and 10, we're doing just a little bit of math. Notice I'm given 2 points. It says put it in point slope form. Well, the only thing I got 2 points. I can pick either one. The only thing I'm missing is the slope. So step 1 is to calculate the slope. Well, that's just using the slope formula. That'll tell you what m is. Equals m, and then just pick a point. Once you do that calculation, pick a point. In the back there, we've already seen this. They only give one of the 2 possible answers. I don't know if they always pick the first point. You can check yourself, right? But yesterday we saw that it was the first point they picked. I will accept either one, though. Okay. The only other thing that's left is the fact that I could ask exactly the same question, except talking about parallel and perpendicular lines, right? So Here's your parallel and perpendicular line ones. It's the same thing. It says write in point slope form, write in slope intercept form. So just be careful. Make sure you write the right form. Remember, slopes of lines that are perpendicular are opposite reciprocals. Slopes of lines that are perpendicular are opposite reciprocals of one of each other. So even though the slope is -5/2, for our slope, it's going to be 2/+5 for number 11. For number 12, it's going to be, okay, the opposite of -5 is 5. It would be 1/5 if I flip the fraction over. Opposite reciprocals is going to be 2. Opposite reciprocal is going to be 3. That's how quickly you can do the slope.
Wait. How did you get the answer to number 11?
That's not the answer to number 11. That's just the slope. Opposite reciprocal. Do you see the word perpendicular? Opposite reciprocal. I flip the fraction and write the opposite. But that's only the slope. I still need to use the point. So if you want to know the real answer, well, let's see. It's y minus y1, that's 1, is equal to this new slope, 2/5, times x minus 5, so x plus 5, and you're done. Well, I'm getting it from this point right here. That's the y value, that's the x value. The y value is 1, and the x value is -5. But the formula for a point slope says x minus x1, so that's why it's plus 5.
Is that your notebook now?
Oh.
Might want to get that looked at.
What?
Nothing. Knuckles don't bother us when people do it with their neck.
Oh, I can do it.
And they just like turn their neck, and all of a sudden you hear this crack, 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 crack.
I do that all the time. Intimidation 100.
It sounds to me like you're about to paralyze yourself.
Oh, my bad.
I've been told
My
that.
mom cracked her neck one time and she pinched a nerve.
Oh.
Stuff like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you don't want, if you've never had a pinched nerve, you don't want that pain.
Oh, no.
All right, that is the whole test. That is the second time we've seen this review. Please don't show up on Monday and you're like, I don't know, I didn't really study for anything. And I know it's the last test and a few of you need to get a good grade in order to pass. Let's get a good grade. If you need any help over the weekend, I got to do a stupid teacher training thing on Sunday. So I'm out the whole day Sunday, but Saturday, if you need any specific help, just send me a chat or something. If you see me online on Teams, I'd be more willing to do a quick Zoom session on whatever you need help on. All right, that's it. What time do we get out of here? 54, so 4 minutes ahead of schedule.
So where do we go after this?
I have not been told. My assumption is you're going to go to the whatever teacher your team is on.
Hey, I can stay
You
here.
do.
I thought our student advisor teacher was one, so that's what it said on the form.
Did it?
I thought, well,
I
the
haven't been
flyer
told.
said to meet up with your team.
Okay.
Always meet up with your teacher.
I would meet up with your team.
Okay. Yeah, same difference.
All right, e-learners, that's it for today. If you have any problems, send me a chat or questions via email. Hey,